This is not even a surprise. Steel Curtain is once again closed.
No!
I last went to the park on July 16th and July 17th. This was after Curtain's first closure in early July, but it reopened July 14th. And it didn't even last 2 weeks, because it closed yet again on July 24th. Now we still don't know why it closed in the first place for the first closure, but we know a lot more about its most recent closure on the 24th. Let's get right into this. So something happened on July 24th that led to its closure. Now when I tell you this, keep in mind, none of this is confirmed. I wasn't at the park that day, so I cannot confirm that this happened, but from witnesses, this is what they tell us. On the night of July 24th, when Steel Curtain went through the sea serpent roll, this element right here, there was a loud bang. It is not known exactly what that bang was, but on August 4th, there was a crane outside of Steel Curtain, under the sea serpent roll, checking out the supports. So there's definitely something wrong with the sea serpent roll on the ride, because I believe the last time they closed it, they were looking at the sea serpent roll with a large crane. So this probably is structural. Now I'm not saying the Steel Curtain is going to fall down like Jenga, at least I'd hope not, but from what it seems like, it's something to do with the bolts, because that's what the people are doing when they go up on those cranes. They're inspecting the bolts, and maybe that's what that noise was. Maybe a bolt came loose and then fell off and then hit another support, and then made a loud bang. It's a possibility. But all I really think it is just that area of the ride puts so much stress onto the track that the bolts become loose. And I think there's two solutions of fixing that. Either they get bolts that can be tightened more and can withstand the forces of that part of the ride, or they could add more supports to the ride so it's more supported. There's actually a third option too. You could remove that part of the ride with the sea serpent roll, and then you could reroute the ride to go back over to where that airtime hill is and then the lagoon part of the ride, which it may sound like a lot of work, but in the end, it might be the better option. Because as I said before, that area of the ride is very forceful, at least for the supports and the track. I'm not saying it can't hold all that. Yes, it can hold it. It's just with the train going at, 75 miles an hour over that sea serpent roll, with not so many supports holding it up, that's just asking for problems. And before you say, oh, that's the craziest support structure I've ever seen. What are you talking about, RM? That's very supported. Well, yes, you are right, and I do agree with you. This is the craziest support structure I have ever seen. But if you take a real close look at the supports, you see this and that, and the one hiding behind the main structure. Only those three main supports are connecting that part of the sea serpent roll to the main structure. Now let's zoom out again. Same thing with the other side. See this lonely support right here? And also this lonely support right here? Those are the only two things that are connecting it to the main structure, at least for the middle section of the sea serpent roll. Now I don't want to bore you guys and go through the whole support structure and inspect it myself. This is not my job, but I want to give you guys an idea of where these problems come from. Maybe I'm helping Kennywood out, I don't know. Or I could be completely wrong. Let me remind you guys, I'm not an engineer, this is not my job, so don't take anything too literally. But my whole idea here of this was that I think Steel Curtain's a bit under-supported in that section of the ride. I think adding a few more supports to that could support it more. And remember, as I said before, maybe it can hold it, but the forces and all of that, when you put that into play, maybe that's the issue. So yes, the supports, yes, they support the ride, but the bolts and all that, that's the issue here. So would adding more supports to it help that? Maybe. Would rerouting that area of the ride and taking out the sea serpent roll and replace it with something that would help it a lot better? Maybe. And we don't know for sure. All of this is just speculation. For all we know, Kenny the kangaroo could have been just banging pots and pans below the sea serpent roll this whole time. So let me ask you, Kenny, were you banging pots and pans below the sea serpent roll?
I'm going to Potato Patch.
No, you aren't. You're not going anywhere. What's that down there?
Well, I plead the fifth, Chief.
You plead the fifth?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to the patch. See you later. La 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 la.
Okay, moving on from that. Let's talk about when it will reopen. Well, I can tell you today, August 8th, they are actually test running Steel Curtain, which means whatever was the issue might be fixed by now. So at earliest, I could see it reopening this week, sometime this week, and at latest during Phantom Fall Fest, which it is actually scheduled to be open during Phantom Fall Fest, so maybe that means something. But if I were Kennywood, I would not want to reopen and keep closing this ride every 9 days. Curtain only lasted 9 days from its last closure to the current closure. If I were Kennywood, I would keep the ride closed for the rest of the season and reopen it in 2024 with no issues and finally have a season where there's nothing wrong with Curtain. But knowing Curtain, well, it always has an issue sometime in the season, so that's very unlikely to happen. As much as I'd like Curtain to never have a problem, it seems this ride will always have a problem, no matter what. And next year is Curtain's 5th year being at the park, so Kennywood might ask themselves, and SNS, what the heck is going on, and what are we going to do about it? Is it really worth it to keep this big of a maintenance nightmare in the park? Now, I don't know the real reasons behind why Curtain's always been closed or what's wrong with it and how we could possibly fix that, but I can say if this is going to be a continuous issue, then maybe they should consider replacing the ride. Now, to me, this isn't that big of a deal because I have a season pass, but some people, they only go here like once a year, and whenever they go once a year, and they do this maybe yearly, and every time Curtain's closed, I can see 100% why people will be upset. So next year's like when the rookie contract's up. So Steel Curtain's rookie contract is up, and they gotta decide if they're gonna keep it or not, or if it'll go into the free agency. Those knowing football and the NFL, if you do good, you get another contract extension. If you suck, you're going into the free agency, and that player may retire. The rookie contract in the NFL is 4 years, and then your 5th year would be your extension, and then whatever after that. So technically, if we're going off of the NFL, Curtain's extension would be after this year. What I'm trying to get at here with this comparison of the NFL and real life and the extensions and all that is that this is the time for Kennywood to decide whether it'll stay or not. But anyways, I could go on and on and on about my thoughts, but I don't want to make this video too long. But the key things to take away from this video is that there's something wrong with the supports on the Sea Serpent roll, most likely something to do with the bolts, and this seems to be a reoccurring issue. So who knows what'll happen. So what do you guys think about this situation? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for more content like this. I post tons of other coaster content just like this that you will not want to miss. If you have Discord, go join my Discord community. It is linked in the description down below. And go follow my other social medias. Those are also linked down below in the description. And by following those, you can stay up to date in the Arms 2-7 community and receive the latest theme park news. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. And remember, let's ride.